The only workout you need for shoulders is steroids. When I started taking Tren, shoulders immediately, it's like all the trend went to my shoulders.
We're gonna give you some tips and tricks to really blow up those side delts so we can look wider than a fucking brick shithouse.
I want to look like a brick shit house.
You don't even know what a brick shithouse is.
Do you know what a brick
Do
shit
you know
house
what a, yeah, I know what a brick shit, it's a house.
What the heck is going on, guys? What is with these guys? Super big, super lean. I don't get it. Younger and younger every year. Man, we got to talk about this. Let's hit this in. The Tren Twins, watching Sam Sulek, those guys up and coming. I got to talk about this because, man, the influence they're having on the younger generation, good or bad, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're having impact on us, and we got to talk about this because, my God, I am watching guys younger and younger getting bigger and bigger, taking bigger and bigger dosages, and I don't understand it. We got to pull up the, life alert, whatever it is, and really slow this down maybe and think about what we're doing with ourselves and the younger generation. So anyways, guys, if you guys enjoy the content, please do like and subscribe. Bearweight Nation here. Let's kick it off. Let's get into this. Let's talk about it. But anyways, so these guys, man, benching 500 pounds.
Here we go. Smoke these now. Come on. Yep. Come on. Oh, yeah. Make it look easy. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't understand it. I wish I could even consider it. I had a goal of 500 pounds. Unfortunately, that goal is not going to happen now, which is okay with me. I tore my pec, and hey, it is what it is. Moving on. And if you guys are interested in with that video, click on my last video that I uploaded. It is adult rated, unfortunately, due to it showing the pec tear itself. So if you guys want to see some cool blood and guts, go ahead and check that out. It's pretty interesting. Makes me fascinated about it myself. But anyways, I want to talk about this because, my Lord, I remember being in my early, teens because, I'm in my 30s. So 2005 YouTube came out. And then by the time it started kind of getting any traction with people who were in the fitness industry, my first experience in the fitness industry was actually watching Rich Piana pretty regularly, watching his training, watching his regimen.
That I mean it in a good way because I haven't even worked out. I'm already sweating. No air, just sheer working out. And no pretty stuff going on here.
And, the first thing I thought about when I was in my, teens, playing high school football, doing some powerlifting stuff, is I wanted to be a strongman. I had the goal to be a strongman. But, and let me put this as big but, I knew deep down inside those guys were probably doing stuff that was probably questionable. And I didn't have proof at the time, and I didn't have an idea how it worked. I didn't know anything because this is, we're talking the early 2000s or mid 2000s where things were a little bit harder to get online. It was, information was still a little bit slower. And so my focus was, thinking about taking steroids and, getting in on to all that, big juicing stuff, but I didn't know where to start. And luckily enough, I stopped myself from actually doing that. I'm actually very grateful I didn't decide to go down that path. And, I could have been benching 500-600 pounds. I have the genetics for it. I had the strength for it. Especially when I was younger, my natural state, my max natural state before I even did TRT, I was benching like 365 pretty regularly. And I was actually getting pretty strong pretty fast, but being in the military, I had to focus more on running and being lean, and I couldn't carry that much mass.
Is chow allowed in the barracks, Private Pyle?
Sir, no, sir!
Are you allowed to eat jelly donuts, Private Pyle?
Sir, no, sir!
And why not, Private Pyle?
Sir, because I'm too heavy, sir!
Because you are a disgusting fat body, Private Pyle!
Sir, yes, sir!
So I leaned out pretty quick, and of course I had an injury, so that kind of just basically put everything on the back burner in terms of benching or powerlifting or anything like that. And moving forward in the future, being in my 30s, I decided to do, testosterone. Oh my gosh, I am on it. TRT. But the difference is my focus was health markers, focusing on balancing myself. I went to go get my blood work done, and we found out my test was pretty low, and I was wondering why I wasn't feeling the same I used to anymore. And he's like, hey, we gotta fix this. So my focus was kind of start with low dose, work my way up. And as I continued, get stronger, feel better. And unfortunately, this past, month and a half or so, I tore my pec because of just not sure. To be honest, I was benching normally like I do, and went into the bench and for whatever reason tore right off the bone. I don't know. So my focus is bodybuilding now. Just focus on staying lean and getting leaner. So high reps, lower weight, which is fine with me. I'm
Man, that sucks!
actually, I've learned a lot from this, but and I'm pretty grateful for it. But anyways, that's kind of my focus. But let's talk about this, this influence. I mean, these guys are, influencing younger and younger generations. We're talking about 13-year-olds.
In this study, nearly all users said that more senior high school students are using steroids now than when they started. And that was in 1990, with just word of mouth and availability increasing it. Imagine how much more prevalent it must be now.
Taking, testosterone, considering it. I mean, I remember in high school where I don't remember anyone taking tests. I mean, I would talk to all the guys who were weightlifting, and I think maybe one guy was doing it, maybe. And I knew pretty much everyone who was lifting pretty heavy, at least in my class. And, we had a pretty strong class. And so I never experienced it or never saw it. But I'm pretty sure that's changed now because of the influence of and the readability of just getting this stuff on the black market or open market or going to other gyms, local gyms, and talk to the right people. Especially these guys are like, man, you got to take this to get bigger. And I think that's wrong in the sense that you shouldn't even consider this stuff till you're like 25.
No fucking teenage boy anywhere in this fucking world needs to be taking anabolic steroids. I mean, kids taking fucking tren, come on, man. You're gonna fuck yourself up. You can't fucking shag your bird.
I think you need to fully develop. And unless you want to do this as a professional career, and I get it, like coming here, you hear guys talk about, you build your muscle up quicker or build as much muscle as you can so you don't atrophy in the long run. I get that, because things slow down, your engine slows down.
The literature suggests that once you bank up this kind of muscle tissue over the years, it's much easier to retain it indefinitely.
So things don't build as well. But I think there's a trade-off to that. And it's like you could put all that mass on, but I think the impact on your heart is going to be harder. I mean, it's going to clog your heart. I mean, look at this. I mean,
that's not stigma. That's f***ing true.
It's true.
Yeah, my balls are tiny. Well,
these are the side effects of steroids. I mean, there's a ton of side effects. And mainly it's cardiovascular and liver damage. And those things are very important. The cardiovascular, you don't want your blood thickening to the point where you're getting blood clots.
His body had significant skeletal musculature with low subcutaneous fat and no signs of injury. Internal examination revealed his organs were congested due to impaired blood flow. His heart was significantly enlarged. Tissue scarring was found in the heart at the posterior wall, indicating damage to the heart muscle. What you see here are sections of the coronary artery, which supplies blood to the heart. This yellowish-white region of the artery is plaque buildup. Despite his age and physicality, he had severe atherosclerosis. An enlarged microscopic image of the artery showed it had about 75% blockage. This degree of blockage would be found in an older person.
And you don't want your liver failing because that takes all the toxins out of your body. So you don't want those two major things right there alone to fail on you or wear out too quickly because, I mean, you got to remember, you get older, things slow down, your internal insides slow down. So, you might look big on the outside, you might have that muscle mass that you sustained, but if it's on the counter side of things where you've destroyed your heart and your liver, well, what was the point of that? It doesn't even make sense anymore now. So I look at that and I said to myself, especially when I was younger, well, I think it's not worth it. I didn't really think it was worth it. And I'm, like I said, now that I've kind of gotten older, mature, got some wisdom, I'm taking things very specific. Like I want to do an ectiogram. My next step is actually doing an ectiogram. I want to get my heart checked. I want to get things like that checked. I want to get I want to get every precise marker I can. So long term, I can live longer, but I want to have a balanced life. I don't want to live longer and feel crappy. I want to live longer and feel balanced. And that means taking consideration everything in my health, all my health markers. I'd rather be smaller and live longer than big and monstrous and live short. So kind of giving ideas, but my focus moving forward is lightweight, high reps, get strong.
So there's just those two books and whatever little bits of stuff you could pick up in the magazines. Apart from that, it's word of mouth, yeah? Go on YouTube and watch this guy saying this and then another guy saying something else, like your head spinning, like, what is it?
And I see these young guys, younger and younger, wanting to be bigger and bigger. And I think they need to really question themselves and ask themselves, what do I really want in a life? Do I just want to be big to be big? Do I want to be big for a career? Do I want to be big for football? Do I want to be big for powerlifting? Do I want to do powerlifting for a living? Those are the things you got to ask yourself if you are going to go ahead and dabble into the dark side of pharmaceuticals, because a lot of times if you don't have this stuff prescribed, I should say, as back in the day, back in the 60s, 70s, and getting into the 80s when the mass market started kind of popping up a little bit here and there, that stuff was all pharmaceutical made. It wasn't like black market, it wasn't open market, it wasn't open air. You couldn't just order on a website from whoever knows, China probably, or Mexico. This stuff was, built in the United States or in European nations where it was high level grade stuff.
In the 80s and 90s, there's no underground steroids. There is none. It's all pharmaceutical, and you can get it.
Nowadays, everyone can get this stuff, and especially if you don't have a prescription, you're looking at opening the door to toxins, chemicals, things that your body's not going to be really appreciative. Your liver's going to get more impacted. It's going to be harder on your body. And, and like, for example, tren, I mean, like, my God, I don't know anyone who's taken that stuff prescribed, and let alone I can't even imagine trying to get that stuff, because it's Class C stuff, or Class 3, I believe. Class 3 stuff. And, I don't know who anyone can get that, let alone the side effects.
It doesn't convert. It can't convert. Well, it doesn't have to convert because there's a mix on these receptors.
This can include male breast enlargement, aka gynecomastia, and
men will lactate. Men will absolutely pour out and lactate because of this drug. Coming off from this drug is debilitating. I have men suicidal. I'm not recovering. My sex won't come back.
It's tremendous on your body. I mean, I swear to God, that stuff is it's like venom. And what I mean by that is, like, look at Venom, from, Batman and stuff like that, the Venom, Bane, he gets bigger, he gets stronger, but he gets dumber. I mean, I think that's, and there's been proven science that the more steroids you take, the bigger you are, the more you have a tendency your IQ to go down.
Some animal studies suggest that tren may increase the production of amyloid beta plaques in the brain, which are linked to Alzheimer's disease.
Guys I've seen who cruise on tren, it seems like progressively something gets a bit off.
And it's because, it's very toxic to your body. Now, that's not for everyone. Like I said, this is just, outliers and things like that. But I mean, what I'm saying is it's very toxic for your body. I mean, what is it designed for? Cows.
And then you're using some drug for cows at dosages higher than the cows use. You're not a cow.
Come on. That's what it's designed for. It's designed to go into a cow, make a cow bigger. You're not a cow. You're a human. And I mean, don't get me wrong. They made some stuff that was specifically designed for humans that our body would basically break it down into the proper format for our bodies to take. But, it's very toxic to the body.
This is like the least thing you want to abuse. Of all the steroids you could abuse, tren is the one you want to stay away from the most.
I mean, a tren bologna sandwich is like a normal thing for the Tren twins now. I mean, God forsake, they make a joke out of it.
How utterly jacked you would get while taking tren on a bulk. I had to test that out.
I mean, and they're not just taking tren, they're taking, Anavar, they're taking probably an AI, they're probably, whatever test levels they're taking. I mean, I saw some videos on their stuff, and they were taking, it was like 200 grams of tests, but then they're taking like 100 milligrams of tren, and then like Anavar 50 milligrams or something like that. So you start making these cocktails, and I think that's the problem with our generation, is that we've gotten away from the training aspect.
So here's the thing, man. Everyone thinks bodybuilding is a drug-based culture. And unfortunately, the reality is it's become that. But it should be a training-based culture. And that's really the difference between the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. And now it's the paradigm with the internet that's been perpetuated is they go, oh, wow, there's this amazing stack that some a-hole posted that apparently some bodybuilder before him has been using, so I'm going to use that.
And we started focusing on the pharmaceutical aspect versus the training. And I think that's where we need to start kind of looking at kind of moving back to the training aspect, because we're going to see younger people, especially as things start happening, is we're going to see a lot higher level of people passing away or having...
And consisted of intramuscular injections of stanzolol, testosterone, tamoxifen, mestrolone, and nandrolone. He had no family history of early atherosclerosis or cardiac events. The coroner officially ruled the 24-year-old had succumbed to cardiac arrest due to an enlarged heart from abuse of steroids.
mental problems, because when you take the stuff, you, especially like Larry Wills.
I've done crystal meth, crack, all this, coke, Special K, and tren, I find affected my mental health the worst.
Talks about this. I mean, he talked about how he was taking all this stuff, cocaine, methamphetamines, all these different types of drugs, whatever it was. And he talks about tren being the worst mentally on him. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a pretty blunt statement. I mean, and that guy's, done it. He's done all kinds of stuff, but that one's pretty hard on him. It'd be interesting to see, my biggest thing is I'd love to see where the Tren Twins' blood markers are at this point, being that young. If they got an ectogram, where's the blood markers at, how thick their blood's gotten, if there's any sort of plaque buildup in their heart vessels and things like that, and just see if they're having, a long-term side effect. I'm sure they are. Obviously, we know there's going to be some sort of side effect. These guys are going to have a side effect. And if it's not the physical side effect and they start learning to maybe back off this as they get older, they're going to, tear something, because the bigger the muscle gets, the more it puts more strain on the tendon, and the likelihood of rupturing that tendon.
PEDs can cause muscles to grow too big for the tendons supporting them. Muscles so big, they're literally ripping the body apart.
Is higher, especially when you're young. You think you're going to keep getting indefinitely stronger, because your body's able to repair quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. But by the time they get in their late 20s, what's going to happen is things are going to slow down, and that tendon is going to pop off the bone because it can't keep up with the healing rate. It's kind of like my situation. I've gotten older. Things will slow down. My tendons don't heal as quick. My body doesn't heal as nearly as quick as I used to. I fall on the ground. I feel it the next day. When you're younger, you fall on the ground, you fall again, and you fall again, and you feel fine. But, as I've gotten older, things have slowed down. So my tendon, unfortunately, because I've trained and I trained and I trained, what I think is happening is that I'm overtraining and lifting too much weight, and my those ligaments can't heal nearly as quick. So what happened is it popped. Instead of doing heavy weight now, I'm focused more on cardio, focused more on lighter weight, and so I can heal better, versus when you do heavy weight, you tear it quicker. So, them being young, two side of things are going to happen. Their muscle's going to either get too big, it's going to tear it off the bone because it's gotten too strong and the tendon can't keep up, or the other side effect is like Larry Wheels, on the other hand. What happened to his bicep is he got bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger, but he started getting past his 20s. He started getting up into his, mid 20s. His body doesn't keep up nearly with healing rate wise. So the healing is slowed down. Even if you take peptides, whatever else, the healing slows down. And so what happens is you get stronger. Well, it starts tearing, then. Goes. So I mean, there are going to be some issues, and I wish these guys the best luck. By the way, I hope these guys do great, and I hope everyone on these, all these lifters have done phenomenal things for themselves, and I hope they continue to do phenomenal things. I have no hate against them or anything like that, but I think we just have to look at the whole shebang versus just being so narrow-minded on, I gotta be the biggest, I gotta be the fastest, I gotta be the strongest, it'll help me monetize everything.
The demographic is getting younger. Young people are exposed to so much online that they may not be otherwise exposed to in their regular life at their age, and they are easily influenced.
I think there has to be a level of balance, and I think we need to all find balance. That's the big thing. Really look at your health markers. Look, the biggest thing I'd say, if you are going to consider as a young person getting into this stuff, and it's going to be harder because you're going to try to get this legally, you need to do your blood work. Even if you get it from the side, well, still go get your blood work done and talk to a doctor. Be like, hey, just be open with him. Don't lie. You don't need to lie. He's going to talk to you. He's not going to arrest you. He's not a cop. You're going to go in there and say, hey, I want to get my blood work done. And then they're going to ask you if you're on something. Just tell them what you're on. And then they're going to sit there and go, okay, well, if you're on this, I just want to let you know, these are where your health markers are at. And if you continue this trend, you're not going to be in good. But if we backen down your dosage and we try to get you a point where you're getting the most out of it without overusing it or abusing it, you may be a little bit smaller, but you're still.
But, and that's sort of the whole point, man. You make mistakes so you can learn from them. I think if I was lifting how I am now, I probably would have made slightly better results than I did back then. But clearly it seemed to have worked out in the long run.
You'll look great. I think you'll look fantastic. You'll look, you'll have the size, the strength. But you're not getting to that point where it's a red line where you can potentially ruin yourself long term, your health, and, especially if you want to have kids. I mean, balls shrinking,
So going on steroids made my dick smaller, but now that I'm on TRT, it's big again.
Oh, you don't want your balls to shrink to the point where you can't use them anymore. That was one of the biggest reasons why I decided not to get into that stuff, is because I wanted to have kids, and I didn't want to have kids until I was in my 30s. So I was like, I need to really consider if I'm going to do this. Now that I'm on TRT, I have stuff that counteracts that, but I'm taking a low dosage. I'm not taking so much that it's shutting my system down. I don't want to shut my system down. I want to actually...
Travelon, 76 milligrams. There's a reason it's 76 milligrams and not 200 or like other compounds, because it's very powerful, yeah?
It can maintain my system long term. I want to have a system that's going to be balanced. Everything for me is about balance. It's about health. It's about balance. It's about, I want to be strong. I want to be athletic. I want to have endurance, and I want to have a good mind and a good body. And that means also work on your mind. Read books, get into that, find books that, not history, education, for example, self-development, things like that are going to help you grow as a person. So once again, guys, hope you guys are enjoying this content. If you guys have any questions, please hit me up, like, subscribe. But once again, guys, make sure you do everything based on your health, not just because someone influenced you to do it. That's what I would encourage you. And I'm grateful I did, and I hope you guys take something from that. So other than that, Airweight Nation out. Catch you on the next one.